7:33 Central African Time. Hello and Sunny Bonani. Welcome to the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. Welcome to Qatar. Welcome to the Lusail International Circuit. 12 drivers have taken their place on this year's grid. We have yet to find out how exactly the weather situation will pan out. It is an absolute honor to have you here with us. If you have just joined us, we're about to have qualifying underway, and we will see just how this race pans out. It is the second race in a 12 race calendar this season. Well, we had a very, very good start to our season last time out at the Silverstone Circuit in Great Britain. We're looking forward to another, well, entertaining race. Some of these drivers unfortunately missed out, the likes of Tepiso, the likes of Teppo Temba, but as you can see on your screen, they're here today, they're represented, they are good to go and stake their claim on a decent finish when all is said and done come the end of this year's race, and indeed the season proper. Now, Tepiso sadly missed out last week. Tepiso was, of course, most recently in the playoffs, where he asserted his dominance versus would-be challengers to the top tier. Tepiso keeping his race seat in Tier 1 this season, but racing, as you can see, in the colors of Williams, alongside none other than Donathan Laka. Don Satole, the DJ/musician, well-traveled, seasoned driver, super talent, very, very quick on track. Representing Red Bull today, we have Lusail. Back in the familiar colors of Red Bull. Those longtime viewers of BrakeAway Racing League will be well aware that Lusail did apply his trade for the Milton Keynes side for quite a lengthy period. Lusail's teammate is none other than the rookie Billy Hendricks, who was represented last time out at the British Grand Prix. Hopefully Billy Hendricks will be able to join. I do know that, courtesy of load shedding, some of the drivers will only be making their presence felt at 8 p.m. or thereabouts, when the load shedding schedule changes and power is restored. So, what was the story last time out? I tell you what, it is the returning champion, three-time BrakeAway Tier 1 champion Seathley, who pretty much showed that he is not to be trifled with this season, and he is here to win and nothing else. And when he did in Britain in the first race, he qualified first, he had the fastest lap, and he crossed the line as the race winner. So Seathley looking very, very good for McLaren. He tops the standings after just one race with 26 points. The man who crossed the line second last time out is Don Rabico for Mercedes. 18 points for them. And the rookie to Tier 1, definitely Duke, crossed the line P3, came third. Did Duke, so looking very, very good. I'm just taking a glance here, wondering when Duke will be joining us. Hopefully that will be soon. I do expect Duke to be racing. I did have a brief chat with him earlier, and well, he's in good spirits. He's been putting in a lot of practice on the simulator, and Duke claimed 15 points. This man, Smirch Django, the former champion who deposed and dethroned Seathley some time ago. He crossed the line P4 after an eventful race. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, Bongani and Gwenya crossed the line in P5, claiming 10 points as things currently stand. Donathan Laka is currently 6th in the standings on 8 total points, and then Lusail is 7th on 6 points, and then we have the rookie Simpiwe Zondi, aka Simps, who does not seem to be in this lobby as yet. Hopefully, we will be seeing them by the time all is said and done on 4 points. Mandla Romeo Massengo has 2 championship points, having crossed the line P9 in the first race. And then we have Ban Kobe, who was at the heart of a dramatic moment involving Thiago Maestro, who was trying to chase Ban Kobe when he dramatically crashed out. Ban Kobe claimed the final points in the first race, currently has 1 point. Then Fensei, Stage Figure of Speech, and Billy Hendricks crossed the line in P11, 12, and 13 respectively. We had 3 DNFs, or 3 drivers who could not finish by virtue of crashing out or whatever. That was Loveness, the 86er, and Thiago Maestro, as we've already mentioned. 13 drivers currently represented. We're just waiting for them to make sure that they're well and truly in this year lobby so we can get going as soon as humanly possible. I do understand that the lobby king, or the person in charge of today's lobby, safety figure of speech, is sending the invites to make sure that the drivers are in the lobby as soon as possible. So, this is the second race of a total 12 in this entire season. And if you're brand new to Formula One, how it works is we will start off with a full qualifying session. How qualifying works is these drivers have a set amount of time in each qualifying session to drive around the track as fast as they possibly can, and the quickest drivers go through to the next qualifying session. With a full quality session, it would have been 20 drivers taking part, and 5 would get knocked out of Q1, meaning 15 drivers take part in Q2, and a further 5 get eliminated, the 5 slowest drivers, and then we have Q3, which is essentially the battle for pole position, or indeed who will be qualifying first. So the faster you go in qualifying, that determines the higher up the starting grid your car will be positioned. Last time out, it was Seaclay in the McLaren, who will put on a heck of a show out at the Silverstone circuit. Can he repeat that today? Would love to hear your thoughts in this comment section. Thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League as your league of choice here today. Please remember to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. As you can see, those green check marks mean we're about to get racing, or rather about to get qualifying pretty soon. We'll start off with about 14 drivers in this initial qualifying session. Grimjaw is also in this year lobby for the first time this season, so it's good to see them. Grimjaw is going to select their car for this season, and to my understanding, Grimjaw is racing for Team McLaren, Seaclay's teammate. But can Grimjaw select a car fast enough? Might just have done so. Well, here we are, folks. Welcome to qualifying session number 1, where, well, if we had more than 15 drivers, we would be seeing some eliminations from this session. So considering that it is fairly low stakes in that sense, we may not see drivers take too many risks, and a lot of them perhaps will just be happy to cross the start-finish line and well, set a representative time. But we'll get a taste of number 1, what the weather situation is looking like for tonight, and whether or not we will have some drivers pushing to their absolute limits early on. Bankobi, Tiago, Vinuccio, Loveness, Don Rabico, Django, Zotal, Tapiso, Donathan Laka, Debo Crocodile, Teppo Temba, Sage Figure of Speech, Seaclay, and as you can see at the bottom of your screen, Grimjaw are the drivers that will be taking part in Q1. Welcome to Tier 1. Welcome to the BrakeAway Racing League qualifying. Up next. Thank you for making your presence felt in the comment section. Estelo was racing in Tier 2. It's good to see you, as is, of course, Kid K and Kaboza. Tier 2 driver. For the moment, we do know what Kaboza is capable of. Well, I'll tell you what, folks, it's back to normal programming. Tapiso is back. Tapiso is the first driver out on track. So we'll get a good sense of just how this will pan out. Oh, Tapiso taking a little bit of a saunter, a little bit of a spin out here, but back on track here today. Kaboza says he wanted it to rain. Kaboza, of course, they had an unlucky session last time out. Rain in Qatar is something that we rarely ever see in these conditions. Kaboza, yes, it is a new... I'm using new equipment here today for commentary. I do hope it sounds better. If it does not sound great, we can always revert to the older equipment, but do let me know if the microphone works in a positive manner or not. Here we are, folks, 16 and a half minutes of this quality session to go. Kid K says, come on, Grimjaw, just get in the car, just get racing, just get going. Tapiso, as is customary in the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League, will be out to set the first representative lap. Welcome to the Lusail International Circuit out here in Qatar. It is a very, very eventful and entertaining circuit. 5.4 kilometers in total, a total of 16 corners. It is located on the outskirts of the capital city, Doha, and it is a circuit which debuted back in 2021. A fast, flowing circuit with medium and high-speed corners, and the main straight, which Tapiso is about to get onto, is more than 1 kilometer long, with turn 1 representing a huge overtaking opportunity. Drivers are at full throttle on this track, an average of 68% of the total lap time, and Tapiso will be the first to give us a taste of just how this track feels and navigates. Here it comes now. Sector 1, looking good, looking calm. And Tapiso, of course, playing it very, very careful not to flirt with track limits too much. He nails the braking zone of turn number 6. And we got to watch those sector split times, folks. There's a lot which could possibly transpire between now and the end of this session. Tapiso, first representative lap, as Grimjaw seems to be struggling with the network and struggling to stay within this lobby. Dipping in and out is Grimjaw, not able to maintain a sturdy connection to this lobby. Tapiso Sector 2 split is a 55.437. Watch that closely as these drivers navigate this year's circuit. Oh no, Duke, sadly, the generator gave up on them, struggling with power issues. It would have been so fantastic to see Duke, who has been practicing oh so hard for oh so long. This, however, is Tapiso out of the final corner, sending it screaming down the main straight for the first representative lap of this year's session. It is Tapiso for Williams, sets a 1 minute 23.291, and that is the early benchmark. Thiago Maestro is next, as was only on the intermediate tires, just perhaps getting a decent feeler of how this lap is. The Greenwald intermediate tires, as you can see, that Thiago has strapped on, are, of course, for rainy conditions or mixed conditions. So at this particular point, the likes of Thiago, Debo Croc, and Sig Fig are on those Greenwald Inters. They're just basically getting a sense of how this track feels. And we'll get a true representation of their proper pace once they slap on a set of soft compound tires. So Debo Crocodile also getting a proper feel of this track, and not quite pushing as yet. All right, Django's Sector 1 split was in the low 20s, I believe. So let's just make sure that we stay on board with him. 54.181. Sector 2 split is among the faster times that we've seen here today. So we are possibly looking at a time which will smash the record as currently stands. The Nucho is back in the lobby as Thiago Maestro licks his lips and rubs his hands together, saying, let us make this interesting. We know what Thiago is capable of, but what is Django capable of? The answer is, of the fastest time of the day, 121.725 is the new benchmark. Tapiso, take note. Now is further back is the Williams driver by a factor of a couple of seconds. Work to do for the Williams driver as more and more drivers start trickling into the lobby. The likes of Tempo Temba, of course, was already here. The 86er has staked their claim on a place in this year's race lobby. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League as we watch Ban Kobe weaving to the left and to the right, trying to get some temperature into those tires. Ban Kobe for Team Haas, getting that solitary point last time out, is ready to make his mark on this Lusail International Circuit out here in Qatar. As things currently stand, it's Merch Django from Tapiso from Thiago Maestro. Your top three drivers, of course, with 11 minutes of this first qualifying session to go. A lot yet still to happen. Most of the grid has yet to come out of the pits. We're waiting for the champion, Don Rabico. Grimjaw seems to have secured a decent a connection to the sheer lobby, decent enough to not have been kicked out at this particular point. Escalo asks in the comment section, are we going to see a time in the 1 minute 19s come the end of this qualifying session here today? Well, let us know. Man Ray says we've got 16 races in. Now, those intermediate tire runs are invalid. Something that is valid, as things currently stand, however, is Ban Colby's push lap. Here we come now, in towards turn 1. Ban Colby for Team Haas, absolutely sending it. Fourth gear on the exit of turn 1, and shifts down to 5 to take that second corner, trying not to flirt too much with track limits. It's Ban Colby sending it screaming down towards turns 4 and 5. The fast sequence of consecutive right-handers before he's going to go hard onto the brakes and pass his teammates into turn number 6. Ban Colby sets a 27.2. Oh no, Ban Colby on the exit of turn number 6 goes off the track. That is going to be invalid. He's going to have to go all the way around once again. Meanwhile, Sikle, who gave this entire grid more than his fair share of headaches last time out, is out on track for his first push lap and his revenge tour, if you will. The return of the nemesis, the 3-time Tier 1 champion, now in the colors of McLaren. Sikle, what can he do here today? Of course, it is only Q1. 53.893 is the split at the end of that second sector. And I'll tell you what, that is, by some margin, the quickest Sector 2 split we've seen here today, because Django was in the 54s. Oh, the slow-moving Haas makes way for Sikle, and rightly so. Here comes the McLaren driver now towards the final corner. We'll point it straight now down towards the start-finish straight. 15, 16, 17 seconds. Escalo predicted a time in the 1 minute 19s. Not yet, but still, Sikle crosses the line for the quickest time of the day by a factor of a couple of tenths. It's Sikle to the top with a 121.516. The benchmark has been set by the McLaren driver, the would-be challenger to the likes of Don Rabico and Django. Simpiwe Zondi, Sims F1, highly experienced, highly competitive, super pacey driver now enters turn number 6 as the slow-moving Alpine makes way. Oh, slight twitch of the steering wheel by Simpiwe there, trying to make sure that it is not an invalidation at the very least, but he keeps it together, does Simpiwe Zonti, aka Sims, representing Aston Martin, whose teammate Sepul Temba is here to make sure that they put on a show here today. Simpiwe now at the end of Sector 2, what'll it be relative to the other runners? 54.213. So within the benchmark, within the ballpark of the likes of Smirch Django's Sector 2 split here. Looking decent, as Uncle Savvy says, Sikle is still my fighter. Sikle with a couple of fans in the comment section. Oh, Simpiwe Zondi almost flirting too much with the limits of the track limits over here, as Mandla laments the fact that these guys are way too quick. Mandla Romeo has yet to join the lobby, but here comes Simpiwe's first push, his first effort. What'll it be? P3, 121.881 in Q1. Tiago Maestro's time was set on those intermediates, on those mediums, and Django has opted seemingly to retire in the pits. I just want to make a, was that Nucho? Oh no, Django has just opted to retire their car. 121. Well, we'll see how that pans out. It's early days here, folks. And let's now catch up with the 86er for Team Alpine. Looks like the Nucho is still getting a feel of things, but the 86er came completely unstuck there in the braking zone of turn number 6. And, well, he will have some issues now with those soft tires. It seems that he's abandoned that push lap completely. Gallo Latang Kukawaifi, the super creative 86er, is going to have to give it another go all the way from scratch. Tiago Maestro, are you giving it a push? The answer is no. Look at that. Loveness. A word of appreciation for the Haas driver. Tato, Loveness, looking good, looking solid. Fourth quickest time, 121.989. Tucks right between Simps and Tiago, whose time was set on those medium compound tires. Grimjaw is finally here, finally connected. Sector 1 split in the 26 seconds. So work to do for Grimjaw, who came into the BrakeAway Racing League looking absolutely great. And that slow-moving car was perhaps later to move off the track than Grimjaw would have wanted. So here comes now passing the slow-moving Mercedes of Don Ravico, who's currently on their outlap. Sector 2 split in 53 seconds, so Grimjaw is not here to play around, folks. One of the quicker Sector 2 splits that we've seen here today, rivaling the likes of Smirch Django. Oh, and as you can see there, he's having a little bit of a moment on the exit of those faster corners. Grimjaw on a push lap. Grimjaw with a correction of the steering wheel on the exit of the final corner. Now sending it screaming down towards the line. Opens up that rear wing for extra speed, courtesy of DRS, and yes, he goes to P2 121.688. The margins absolutely fine with 5 minutes and 47 seconds of this qualifying session to go. There is a lot to look forward to. Ooh, there's a Red Bull which has come to a complete stop at the part of the track that Donathan Laka just navigated, or rather it was not Donathan Laka, but rather Tepiso, Don's teammate. So we'll stay with Donathan Laka here, completing sector 2 with a split of 54.430. And we'll see exactly how well he will navigate this, how much speed the Williams driver is carrying, looking absolutely comfortable with a different configuration of the dash here, as you can see. Some of the key telemetry on this Williams car is separated from the steering wheel, different from what the rest of the grid is running. Here comes Donathan Laka towards the line. It's the 6th quickest time in this first qualifying session. Less than 5 minutes to go. Donathan Laka crosses the line with a 121.999. Ban Colby on a second push lap. We saw him invalidate on the first time round. We'll catch up with how his efforts go, because the champion Don Rabko is on the verge of finishing their push lap. Here he comes now towards the final corner, looking like he's in absolute, well, comfort levels. I'm pretty sure in the pit lane, C-Clay is watching very, very closely as the black Mercedes comes screaming towards the line for the quickest time of the day by a factor of almost half a second. It is Don Rabico to the top of the pile, 121.085. And how's that, C-Clay? How's that, Grimjaw? How's that, Smirch Django? Don Rabico lays claim to being one of the quicker prospects here today, looking absolutely fantastic. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, now navigating Sector 2 on the exit of turn number 8. As there's a yellow flag here. Well, Debo Crocodile has left this off completely, abandoning that push lap, as Tepiso in the comment section is lamenting the difficulty levels. Oh, Thiago Maestro is out. But the question is, where? I don't see Thiago Maestro's core icon anywhere on this track. Well, Thiago Maestro is going to have to contend with P9 at the very least, if everything goes well. And at this particular point in time, it seems like we've got a whole smattering of drivers just retiring from this session. Oh, there we go. Retired in the pits with Thiago. Of course, this being Q1, with only 16 drivers. At this particular point, only one driver will be getting knocked out. Zotal has yet to set a representative time. Back in the colors of Red Bull is Zotal. What can he do? Here he comes now, screaming towards the final corner. We'll be looking to set a time in the 1 minute 21 to feel comfortable. At the very least, opens up that rear wing to get some DRS. Zotal crosses the line. 10th quickest, 23.024. Work to do for Zotal in the early stages of this qualifying. Stage figure of speech is already back in the pits, having set that 123.036. Tepiso, for having retired with a 23.291, the 12th quickest time. Tempo Temba is in the pits, exiting the pits, having set a 24.347. Ban Kobe struggling to set a representative lap. The Nucho and the 86er have yet to set laps of their own. It seems like the Nucho might just be furthest of the two, so we'll hop on board with them. A Sector 2 split in the 54-second mark. The 86er has been Latifi-fied. So says Man Ray in the comment section. Man Ray with the spicy comments towards some of the drivers over here. 86er, work to do here. Remember, some of you who are joining us for the first time, this is the first season that Tier 1 is running without the assist of ABS. So drivers are, have a high propensity to lock up their tires in the heavy braking zones. Nucho on a push lap. Crosses the line, 10th quickest time, 1 minute 22.770. Here comes the 86er behind the Nucho. Can he set a representative lap? Well, not yet. It's only now going to begin. Behind the 86er is Ban Kobe. Now, on board we go with the 86er, who has a slight twitch on the exit of turn number 1. Looks like he kisses the apex into turn number 2. Keeping it as steady as he possibly can. Wary, of course, of the possible pitfalls when it comes to the heavy braking zones and the possibility of the tires locking. Navigates turns 4 and 5 fairly straightforward, and Sector 1 split in the 27-second mark. So looking all right as Mandla pleads with the gang not to retire all the cars before the clock has counted down completely. The 86er is now keeping it on the limit as much as he possibly can. Absolutely. Oh, pushing. Oh, but perhaps was too eager on the steering wheel there on the entry into that left-hander, but he's managed to keep this lap valid. So heart-in-mouth moment for the 86er. He knows that it's now or never to set a representative lap. Less than 30 seconds of this session to go. It's now or never for the 86er. Look at that yellow bar on that steering wheel. That battery power is down to its last. So the 86er just needs to keep this valid and send this car screaming down towards the line. He opens up that rear wing to send it hurtling down towards the line. Crosses the line. Representative time 23.845. 86er has something in the bag. Does ban Kobe? No, it's another invalidation for Ban Kobe, who is struggling to keep his car within track limits. But he did cross the line in time to set a representative lap now at this particular point. And as Ban Kobe begins his first lap, we'll see whether or not Tempo Temba can ensure that he survives at the end of this push lap. We'll hop on back to Ban Kobe in a second as Tempo Temba navigates the final corner and now looks to leapfrog the 86er and put the Alpine driver under all the pressure. And he does leapfrog the 86er up to 14th. Making sure that he is safely through to Q2. Now, here comes Ban Kobe, as we are confirming to Thiago that it is a full qualifying session. This is only the first of a 3 total quality sessions. Ban Kobe struggling to keep it within track limits. He's the last surviving man on track here, sending it, looking to set his own representative time and perhaps dub the 86er out of this session. Now or never, Ban Kobe, Sector 2 split in the 55 seconds, and Ban Kobe abandons that attempt and sends it straight into the wall. It's Ban Kobe, eliminated in dramatic fashion, will take no further part in qualifying. Ban Kobe out in dramatic fashion at the end of Q1. So there you have it, folks. Don Ravico, the quickest driver. Seathley went second quickest from Grimshaw in third. Smirch Tango was the fourth quickest driver in Q1. Simpiwe Zandi, Simps, P5. Debo Crocodile, P6. Loveness, Tato, P7. Donathan Laka, P8. Tiago, P9. Venuccio, 10th. Zotal, 11th. Sage Figure of Speech, P12. Tabiso, 13th. Tempo Tempo, 14th. The 86er, P15. Ban Kobe crashing out in dramatic fashion, throwing in the towel. Sent it straight into the wall over there.
marunong mo kapsong ganjin. Marunong mo yo pusa may bekaso sa 86 may bangas. Fala nga biyo pusa bang marangas wa hevela chasi mo to kapsong ganj. Pega ma chubo mechanic pa busy mo. Pega and open up aziki panera la pagkukule karachi has.
Yes, there are no spanners apparently in the Haas garage. According to Berthox, but we have not confirmed that as yet. Sir Lancelot says, well, how dramatic was that ending?
It's couple ang nga to ano if
we future quiet. Caboza quoting a line from the iconic Cueto artist Zola. Just trying to give a word of encouragement to Tapiso, who has qualified through to Q2 here. There it is, folks. 0.4 of a second between the quickest driver and Seathley. So it's a close battle to watch between Seathley and Don Rabico here today. And we will see how that pans out. Welcome, folks. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the top tier of the BrakeAway Racing League. Please like the stream if you have not done so already. Subscribe to our channel. This is the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. Not the Maloons in the pits, says Jittery Cursor 88. Yep, it's looking quite rough. There it is, folks. Your 15 contenders to qualify out of this here session. If you're new to Formula One and you've just joined us, I will repeat. The whole aim of qualifying is to send your car around the track as fast as you possibly can, and the quickest drivers will qualify higher up the grid. But with each qualifying session, we will knock out a contingent of drivers. So in Q2, 5 drivers will be getting knocked out. And then we will see how everybody will fare in the top 10 shootout. And of course, these qualifying times determine how high up the grid or how much further towards the front you will be starting the race. They have 15 minutes in this second qualifying session to stake their claim for a decent spot. And we will see how they will fare. Tapiso is here, being encouraged by the likes of Kaboza in the comment section. But Tapiso is here to give it an almighty push, as the likes of Pain did say in the epic anime series Naruto. Some of you might be aware, but we'll keep a close eye to see how Tapiso fares. Senpiwe Zondi, rookie to Tier 1, but not a rookie as far as driving is concerned. Highly experienced, super competitive. What can they do? He had to fight all the way from the back of the pack in the first race back in Britain last week. But now, taking part in the full qualifying session, has a golden opportunity as he takes this opportunity to go completely off the track.
Agad Senpiwe wenza and I'm going to say I'm a round. Got this keep on Senpiwe. Drive at 8 I'm a medium.
Yes, he is on medium tires. Perhaps Senpiwe is just getting a proper feel of how Q2 feels in their car before giving it a push on a proper set of soft tires. Well, it's got 13 minutes, a lot of time. 5 of these drivers will be getting knocked out. We lost Ban Kobe in Q1, who will be getting knocked out. I want to hear in the comment section what sort of times you expect will be enough to guarantee participation in Q3. Let me know. Meanwhile, Thiago Maestro, who was one of the first out on track, has crossed the line to begin their push lap on a set of medium tires. Is it confidence or is it a sense of just getting a feel for the track? Either way, he's looking good, he's looking content, he's looking comfortable. Now approaching turns 4 and 5. The slow-moving cars make way as Thiago navigates those right-hand corners, will slam the brakes and switch down all the way to second gear in Thiago's case, as he set a 6-to-1 split in the 27-odd seconds. So, Thiago, first representative time of the day with 12 minutes of this session to go. Kaboza reckons a 1 minute 22.5 should be enough to see these drivers through to Q3. Will Thiago Maestro get that? Will that be enough? Well, folks, we will be watching very, very closely. Here comes the Sector 2 split on that Thiago Maestro is setting, and it's a 54.945, which I tell you what is notable, considering that that is the like of Sector 2 splits, that we saw drivers put on a set of soft tires. So the fact that Thiago Maestro is putting on those splits on mediums is definitely notable indeed. But how much pace does he still have in the bag? It's Thiago, the first representative time of Q2 with 11.5 minutes of this session to go. He is absolutely on the track limits. He's almost on the grass. 22.967 is the benchmark at the early stages of this quali session. Here comes the former 3-time champion, the championship leader, the would-be claimer of this year's Tier 1 throne, Sikle, to set us off in Q2, 21.421. How much more pace does he still have in the bag? I absolutely cannot wait, and I will watch that very, very closely. I'm sure the likes of Don Rabico have been watching. Zotal, Grimjaw, Debo Crocodile, the 86er, getting a sense of just how much it'll take to set decent laps over here. Here comes Donathan Laka. Will he make that car sing? Sage figure of speech sets a 24.4. Donathan Laka responds with a 22.065. And we also have the likes of Senpiwe Zondi, who has set a 29.547. So definitely not representative as far as Senpiwe Zondi is concerned here, folks. Meanwhile, it looks like one of the Red Bulls is about to cross the line, but it looks like it is possibly a Grimjaw or Zotal only now beginning their push laps. This, however, is Sapiso, who has just navigated turn number 7. Are any of these guys using pedals and steering wheels? Asked Jittery Cursor. Well, I can't tell you for certain. Sikle is on a racing wheel, as is Don Rabico, as is Zotal and Smirch Django. And some of the other drivers, I believe they will be able to answer you in the comment section. I believe Kaboza does have a lot of intel, as does Kid K, about who is on a racing wheel. This is, however, Sapiso's Q2 attempt, and almost taking all of the liberties with track limits over there, but it looks like he was not happy, and he abandons that push lap. And towards the end, Grimjaw across the line, 21.937. Now with a sturdy network connection, Grimjaw looking very, very competitive. Do not count this driver out at all. 21.937 is nothing to be scoffed at, folks. Donathan Laka, third quickest from Loveness. Tato, who set that time of a 22.329 for Team Haas. Looking good, looking comfortable. Venuccio has also set their representative time. Look at that, 22.399. Simpiwe Zondi on the medium sets the second quickest time of the day. It's a 21.870 on a slower compound of tires, theoretically. So that is a taste of what is to come, possibly, if Simpiwe Zondi keeps this up for the rest of this session and indeed Q3 to come. We'll pay close attention to all of that and more. Debo Crocodile currently on their outlap, as is the former champion Smirch Django, currently on the brink of beginning their push lap in earnest. What do they have in store for us? It's Smirch Django representing Ferrari, teammate to the Nuccio this season, a duo that we're going to be watching very, very closely. Nuccio is pushing. Let's go, says Estelo. He absolutely was. 22.399. Nothing to be scoffed at as Smirch Django navigates the first couple of corners. And we can see those steering inputs trying to keep that wheel as smooth as possible through those medium and high-speed corners. Turn 4, turn 5. Nails the apex, does Django. Sets a sector 1 of a 26.809 and shifts all the way down to third gear is the preference of the Ferrari driver. Exits turn number 6, which we've seen some drivers have issues with, but no such for Smirch Django. Keeps it steady over here as Caboza is giving steady updates to who was on a controller versus the racing wheel. As Smirch Django is looking very, very good, completing the second sector now with a split of 53.936 is definitely notable. So watch out, Simpiwe Zondi. Watch out, Grimjaw. Here comes the scorching hot scarlet red Ferrari in the hands of Smirch Django. Now navigating the final sequence of corners. Here he comes, the former champion. Looking to nail the apex in towards through the final corner, and we'll open up that rear wing to get a couple of extra kilometers per hour worth of DRS. 7 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Django sets the second quickest time, 1 minute 21.575, as Don Rabico crosses the line behind the former champion with the first 1 minute 20.952 that we have seen here today, leaving nothing to chance, leaving nothing on the table. The champ is here. Don Rabico, quickest driver in qualifying thus far. One more quali session to go after this. A sensational push lap by the champion. Debo Crocodile sector 1 was 26.974, I believe that was. Here we go now in towards the second sector. Some of those racing lines look too smooth for controllers. Props to the drivers, I guess, says Jittery Cursor 88. Absolutely. This is Debo Crocodile. Now navigating that third and final sector. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. Now keeping it clean, keeping it tight, keeping it together. Sector 3, final corner coming up. Just over 6 minutes of this here session to go. Can it keep it together? Oh, was flirting with the limits there on the exit of the final corner, but he opens up that rear wing for Team Alpine. Can he be the best performing one thus far? Yes is the answer. 21.924 puts a Debo Crocodile all the way up to P5. Tepiso is out on track, as is Teppo Temba. But the answer is which one of them is furthest ahead. We'll watch Teppo Temba first and foremost. No representative time as yet. Remember, the 10 quickest drivers are those that are safe. The 10 quickest are the drivers going through to queue number 3. So, Tiago, Sigfig, Tepiso, 86er, Teppo Temba, currently getting knocked out as things stand. This is Teppo Temba's first representative lap of this second quali session, but will it be enough? The benchmark is 22.399. Here comes Teppo Temba, crosses the line, but it is not good enough. It is only 12th, 123.117. Some of the quicker drivers are happy to retire their cars in the pits at this particular point, seeing no need to risk any more tires and save more soft tires for that third and final quali session. Look at that. Don Rabico says, hey, I want to tell y'all something, man. I done used an old set of old soft tires. You know what? I done gone faster than all y'all. Know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing. I got nothing to say. I don't went fastest on an old set of tires. Now what y'all got to say about that? Don Rabico in a confident mood over here as we watch Teppo Temba setting it around, bringing it back. Sage Figure of Speech is back on track. Currently 13th. Knows that he needs to leapfrog Thiago Maestro at the very least. Now navigating the third and final sector. Tapiso, the 86er, still in the pits. Still to set their representative lap. This is Sage Figure of Speech, however, looking very, very pacey. With just a couple of minutes remaining here to go. 4 minutes of this qualifying session to go. Sage Figure of Speech sends it screaming down towards the line. Opens up that rear wing. Alfa Romeo, can you make it through to Q3? Provisionally, oh no! He's on the brink. He's got about just under 4 minutes. Does Sage Figure of Speech to see how much more he can push. But oh, at this particular point in time, he's used up so much of his battery. Down to 8%. With less than 4 minutes of the session to go. So I'll tell you what, it's going to be very, very tough for Sage Figure of Speech to have something to say here before all is said and done. Remember the likes of Zota, Loveness, Nucho in that P8, 9, and 10. They're probably not feeling completely comfortable. So we will see how that goes. We will see how that goes and how these drivers manage to stake their claim for a possible participation in Q3. Tapiso is back out, as is one of the Ferraris seems to be on an outlap, or is that? No, that is Smirch Django, who had already pitted. That's strange. It says the Nucho's in the pits, but Nucho is only coming out now. Anyway, we will watch Tapiso to see how they fare. And one of the Hasses is also on a current push lap. We'll hop over to Loveness. I don't think we've been on board with Tato, aka Loveness, on their push lap. So we'll catch up with them much later. Less than 2.5 minutes of this session to go. We will see how this will go. Man Ray says, well, so many drivers are going to struggle to claim any points this season. It is not going to be easy at all. Absolutely, as Tapiso now navigates turns 1 and 2, trying to adjust that steering wheel to make sure the entries and exits are as smooth as they possibly can be. So many medium and high-speed corners on this track, as you can see. So much risk of invalidation through Sector 1, but Tapiso's kept it clean. 27.021 at the end of that first sector. This is the exit of turn number 6 for Tapiso. He's still managing to keep it clean and keep it together and keep it going over here, as he tries as well as he possibly can to keep this Williams in good nick. Now approaching the end of the second sector. Needs something good. 54.848 is not to be scoffed at here, folks. We did see those kinds of times being set by the majority as far as Sector 2 split is concerned. Of course, that was back in Q1. Now, the pressure has ratcheted up a notch, as has the pace. As the stakes are a little bit higher, 5 of these drivers are getting knocked out in less than a minute. Will one of those beat Tapiso? Currently P14. Oh no, it's not fast enough. Only up to P11. Only the top 10 go through. Tapiso, try as he might, is not quick enough. Looking at elimination straight in the eye at this particular point in time. The 86er hasn't validated, but might just have enough time to be able to cross the line and begin a final push lap. Tato, Loveness, is currently 9th and not feeling comfortable enough to be able to know that he is definitively through to the third and final qualifying session. Zotal has also yet to cross the line for their final push lap in this session. Loveness at the end of Sector 2 has found more than half a second worth of improvement. So Tato, Loveness, looking good in that Haas, representing Haas, the only driver representing Haas after Bad Colby's dramatic end to Q1 quali. Here comes Tato, now towards the end. What'll it be? He opens up that rear wing, gets some more horsepower, kilometers per hour, and Loveness is the fourth quickest driver at the end of Q2. Well, how's that? to secure your participation in the next quali session. What about Zotal? He was given it an almighty push. Now down to P9. Zotal, oh no, he's invalidated! Zotal has invalidated his lap. He's now hoping and praying that the likes of Thiago Temba do not find improvement. But the answer is Thiago Maestro has found about 3/10 worth of improvement at this particular point in time. Tsapiso has retired from this session, having failed to qualify through the Q3 of this year race. Thiago Maestro, the ball is now in your courts. Thiago Temba, the likes that are trying to dislodge Zotal from participation in Q3. Thiago's lap is still valid. The 86er has crossed the line. The 86er at the death is currently in P10. But here comes Thiago Maestro's answer. It's now or never for the AlphaTauri driver. Can he do it? Yes! He knocks out the 86er out of Q3. 86er is out. The Nucho is out. Tsapiso is out. Sage, figure of speech, and Teppo Temba have been kicked out of Q2 at the death. Thiago Maestro, with a scorching effort, sets the 10th quickest time, and he is through to Q3. Sensational stuff under pressure from the AlphaTauri driver. Don Rabico went quickest in Q2. Sikle, P2. Smirch Django, the three former champions of the three quickest drivers. Tato Loveness went 4th quickest, Donathan Laka 5th, Simpiwe Zondi 6th, Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator P7, Grimjaw P8, Zotal by the skin of his teeth, having invalidated that final push lap, 9th quickest, and this man, Thiago Maestro, is through to Q3 with a sensational lap under pressure. Well, we've got a poll running here, folks, in the comment section. Who will take pole position? As things currently stand, 12 of you have voted. 75% of you think it's going to be Don Rabico. 25% think it's going to be Sikle. And no one has selected Smirch Django or Simps at this particular point in time. There we have it, folks. Simps, Simpiwe Zondi, set the 6th quickest time on a set of medium compound tires. But the story of the day, the headline, is Don Rabico, first driver to breach into the 1-minute 20s on what he says was an old set of soft compound tires. Sikle, quietly confident in the McLaren pit, as is Smirch Django. How much more do they have to give? That is your top 10, folks. 7.4 tenths of a second. That Loveness was from the top. Donathan Laka, almost 9 tenths of a second behind the pack. Simpiwe Zondi, Debo Crocodile, Grimjaw, Zotal, Thiago Maestro, rounding off your top 10. 86er Nucho, Sage Figure Speech, Tsapiso, and Teppo Temba knocked out of Q2. And, well, a whole host of drivers using 2 sets of tires in this session. Well, here we go, folks. The third and final qualifying session. The battle, the shootout for pole position. Who will take pole? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League as your league of choice here tonight. Remember to like the stream, subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. These are your contenders for pole position. Possibly Simps, Don Rabico, Debo Crocodile, Grimjaw, Zotal, Smirch Django, Thiago Maestro, Loveness, Sikle, and Donathan Laka. Only Red Bull has a full complement of drivers represented in Q3 over here. So we'll get a good sense of just how things will go. Thiago Maestro says, you know what? That lap was set with the practice 1 tires. Well. Thiago, what can you do now under the pressure, under the lights of the third and final qualifying session? I, for one, am absolutely salivating. Keen with so much anticipation. Simpiwe Zondi now out for real. The training wheels are off. The medium tires are gone. Simpiwe Zondi giving it an almighty push on a set of soft tires. ABS off is absolutely difficult. So difficult, says Mandla in the comment section. I do hope that Mandla will be able to join us in the race before all is said and done. Welcome to Tier 1, welcome to BrakeAway, welcome to Q3. Simpiwe Zandi is being followed closely behind by the likes of Sikhle, it seems. Well, Mandla will be joining us when the race begins. Excited to see him, see what he can do. Man Ray firing shots at Ban Kobe in the comment section. They've had an interesting rivalry, war of words, those two, over the years. Let's see what that will yield. It looks like Sikhle has passed the likes of the Red Bulls and Simpiwe Zandi. Sikhle may yet set the first true representative lap of this year's session. On board we go with the three-time BrakeAway Racing League champion of the top tier, now navigating turn number 1. Smooth on the steering wheel there, took that turn 1 through 5th gear, did the champion McLaren driver. Oh man, Tolu Wanimi asked, hey Duke, why aren't you racing? Sadly, it seems that Duke had issues with his generator just before the qualifying session began. Sikhle now sending it, pushing with less than 9 minutes of the session to go. 26.594 is the benchmark at the end of Sector 1, folks. So watch that very, very closely. I'm pretty sure Don Rabico in that garage, in that pit lane, is watching this quali very, very closely. Here comes Sikhle Sector 2. Look how smoothly he takes those fast corners. Absolutely sensational stuff by the champion driver, who will now take possibly the fastest Sector 2 split we've seen. 53.380 is nothing to be scoffed at. Absolutely flat out through 7th gear to those sequences of right-hand turns. And Sikhle is looking very, very comfortable now as he navigates the final parts of the third and final sector. Now in towards the final corner, and he kisses the apex ever so slightly, looking to carry as much speed as possible as he points that car straight down towards the line. It's Sikhle to set the first representative effort of the day, and it's a 20.795. Behind him is the Red Bull of Zotal, 21.799, and Simpiwe Zandi also sets a time of the 1 minute 20s. It's close, but no cigar. 20.964 is sensational stuff by the Aston Martin driver, but he needs to find a couple more attempts because Sikhle has laid down the biggest of gauntlets at this particular time. Meanwhile, Tato, aka Loveness, is now navigating through the second sector. Mandla barely believing the kind of times that we're seeing here as Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, sets the fourth quickest time at this particular point in time. 21.572 for Debo Crocodile in Team Alpine. This is Tato. This is Loveness. This is the end of Sector 2 coming up. What sort of split will we see? The answer, 54.294. Haas looking very good. These fast corners are also treacherous if you get it wrong by the tiniest of margins. Now, in the third and final sector, it is Tato absolutely sending it, riding those curves as hard as he possibly can. Is that quicker than Don Rabico's time in Q2? Asks Jittery Cursor. I'll have to double back and check that to make absolutely sure. Meanwhile, Loveness is here towards the line with a 22.125. Only 6th the quickest at this point in time. This is the champion's answer. Here we go. Don Rabico turns 1 and 2. Smooth as butter, is happy to take some of the curves, but of course careful not to go over those yellow sausage curves, which would send that car absolutely screaming in a direction that would not be very comfortable. He takes so much of the... Oh! Don Rabico! Too much of the track limits, it seems. He thought he could take all of the liberties, but that was just too much. Don Rabico there through turn 6, invalidating. Sadly for him. Django, another champion. So much pedigree in Tier 1 this season. In this year race in Qatar. Now, third sector for the Ferrari driver, looking not to make the sort of mistakes that the likes of Don Rabico did. Of course, there's been a lot of chatter between Don Rabico and Sikhle in years gone by, but it seems it is advantaged Sikhle as far as on-track performances are concerned. Man Ray says, is Don Rabico starting to crumble a little bit under pressure? Smirch Django says, I don't know, but I'll just come across the line with the third quickest time. 1 minute 21.043 for the Ferrari driver is very, very good indeed. Looking good, looking comfortable, looking confident. Don Rabico, second bite of the cherry. Here he comes. The Mercedes driver now looking to keep it clean and keep this Mercedes W14 on track. Let's see now from this perspective what it's like to navigate this Lusail International Circuit as the pacey Don Rabico. Turn 5, touches the liberty apex. Rather, turns 4, that was turn 5. This is the braking zone into 6. Shifts all the way down to 3rd gear. Is happiest on the exit there. And it looks like sequence of corners which had him under pressure in his first run is navigated cleanly now. Not too much time remaining, just under 5 minutes for Don Rabico to stake his claim on that P1 spot currently held by Seakley, who was watching eagerly with clenched teeth as the Sector 2 split time is a 53.753 for Don Rabico. Cepiso noting the steering inputs and the smoothness of this Mercedes W14. Absolutely. Here he comes now towards the final corner. Don Rabico. Smooth operator or crumbling under the pressure. Piled on by the likes of Seakley and Simpiwe Zondi. This is the answer in a matter of seconds. Don Rabico towards the line. Don Rabico close but not quick enough. Seakley still holds the advantage with less than 4 minutes of this session to go. It is advantage McLaren, advantage Seakley. Seakley in pole position, still with a final push lap to go. Meanwhile, Grimjaw is here out on track, Sector 2 split of 53.372, I believe that was. Oh no! But as we hop on board, Grimjaw sadly takes too many liberties and invalidates that lap, has to come straight back into sequence. Jittery Cursor says Seakley's time faster by 0.2. Well. So that is the quickest time that we have seen today. Thank you for that verification, Jittery Cursor. It's great to have you, everybody who's just joined us here in time for some fantastic action as Don Rabico is just sending that car across all those track limits. He's trying to get back into the pits, charge that battery if he can, slap on a new set of soft tires. Can Don Rabico do it? Does he have enough time? Oh man, maybe, maybe not. Grimjaw, Loveness, down in P9 and 10. Grimjaw has yet to set a representative time as things currently stand. The margins are so fine at this particular point in time, folks. 20.795 versus 20.813. It is oh so close, as Man Ray rightfully notes in the comments section. Let's catch up with Zotal, who is now pushing. As a Jittery Cursor says, Don Rabico improved by 0.1. So he's pressed and sweating wherever he is. Yep, and that was on a set of 2 laps old soft tires, as Zotal has found about 1/10 of a second worth of improvement come the end of that first sector. Zotal, the pride of Red Bull as things currently stand, alongside Grimjaw, looking to find whatever ounce of improvements he possibly can. 22.799 puts him squarely in P7 as he now navigates navigates his way towards the end of the second sector. He has found 0.3 worth of improvement come the end of Sector 2. Zotal on an almighty push lap with 1.5 minutes of this session to go. This would be last chance saloon for the Red Bull superstar at this particular point in time. As Man Ray says, Billy Hendricks in the playoffs was scorching throughout this track. Sadly, Billy Hendricks not representative here, and Don Rabico is not taking any further parts as Zotal comes across the line, finds improvement. 21.552 means that Zotal is going to be starting at minimum, if things go his way, in P6. Seakley is back on their final push lap, as Don Rabico would not have made it around the track in time to set another proper push lap. So that is that as far as Don Rabico is concerned. But remember, Simpiwe Zondi, Simps, was also quick. Oh, as Seakley has a huge moment, tries to keep the rear of that McLaren on the exit of turn number 6. Behind Seakley is Simpiwe Zondi, who is also at this particular point now on an outlap. So we'll just pay closer attention to Seakley to see whether or not he can maintain momentum, any semblance of momentum here through sectors 2 and 3. 6/1000ths of a second is the improvement that Seakley managed to squeeze squeeze out of that McLaren come the end of Sector 2. But Cicle knows that behind him is Simpiwe Zondi, who will not go down without a fight. It's Thursday action night as we have another retirement courtesy of Loveness. It seems, I don't know if that was out on track, it might have been, as Cicle is now sending it towards the line. Can he improve? He can! At the death, it's now 20.688, and at the death, he crosses the line for the fastest time that we have seen here today. A scorcher from the McLaren. Sensational stuff! Sensational stuff that Cicle has just shown here today. Simpiwe Zondi, 120.964, only good enough for P3. Smirch Django, what can he do now? Currently, oh no! Currently on the curbs, currently invalidated. That is that for the Ferrari superstar. Thiago Maestro has a golden opportunity to leapfrog a couple of these contenders here that we've seen. Cicle wants all the smoke, says Sir Lancelot. He has been peerless, has Cicle, since coming back to the top tier. They have no answers. They have no answers, as Tapiso asks incredulously, where oh where did Cicle, oh no, find those tenths, as Thiago Maestro was perhaps too much on the limit as he invalidated at the end of this year's session. Debo Crocodile, distant cousin of Debo Alligator, making himself acquainted with the gravel trap out here at the Lusail International Circuit. And I'll tell you what, folks, that is our grid as far as the top 10 is concerned. Cicle starts in pole position for the second consecutive race, a 120.688. Don Rabico will start in that front row, 20.813. Simps, 20.964, occupies his second row alongside Smirch Django. Thiago Maestro, P5 in his rookie season, second race in the top tier. P5 alongside Grimjaw in that third row. And then we have Zotal and Debo Crocodile in 7th and 8th. And in P9 and 10, it's Donathan Laka and Loveness. That is your top 10, folks. What a sensational qualifying session. Up next, we go racing in Qatar. Laka and Loveness. That is your top 10, folks. What a sensational qualifying session. Up next, Man Ray asking where oh where is Billy Hendricks, and Sir Lancelot is asking, how on earth did Smirch Django take down Seafleet 3 seasons back? Perhaps feeling that Seafleet is unbeatable at this particular point in time. I'll tell you what, folks, he's looking absolutely in sensational form. But we have got 4 lights, we've got 5 lights. It's the only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. We are racing in Qatar. It is Seaclay versus Don Ravico down towards the line. Oh, the car is sprinting out. Look at Simpiwe Zandi on the attack. He's going to go on the inside of those two. No, he doesn't. It's Seaclay on the outside, Don Ravico on the inside. But Seaclay will have the inside into turn number 2. They make a little bit of contact. Do they touch wheels? Do they touch wheels? They almost do, but Seaclay keeps the Mercedes at bay oh so smoothly. He does. It is oh so tight and oh so intense between those two at the front of the pack. Simpiwe Zandi is hanging on to the coattails of the 2 leading contenders. He's about 3/10 of Seaclay, or rather of Don Rabico as things currently stand. The Nucho has moved up to P4 so quickly. Let's just get a sense of how things have changed. Nucho gaining 8 positions at the start of this race is barely believable stuff here, folks. I can barely keep my composure. I can barely believe what I'm seeing over here. The Nucho is now up to P4 as the top 3 drivers are fighting it out. Oh, so sensationally, it looks like Loveness is now gaining a total of 4 places, and Tempo Temba also moving a total of 8 places at the start of this race. Thiago Maestro has been one of the biggest losers, dropping down 3 places, and Smirch Django may have had another unlucky start. His front wing looks to still be intact, but he's dropped a total of 10 places. Grimjaw at the back losing 11 total places. Back to the front we go. On board with the P3 running Simpiwe Zandi, aka Simps. Seaclay went into the hyperbolic time chamber, says Mfundo in the comment section. Opting on those medium tires is Seaclay. He sets a 29.432 as the first driver to set a representative lap. But Don Rabico is giving Seaclay no breathing room whatsoever. This is the vantage point from the P3 running Simpiwe Zandi. The top 3 drivers have absolutely too much for the entire pack, leading them by a factor of about 2.2 seconds. With just 2 laps gone over here, so it is absolutely bonkers stuff that we're seeing at this particular point in time. On board we go with Don Ravico. Oh, Seaclay, turn 6 is where he struggled in qualifying in the final push lap. Turn 6 is where he had a moment just now, and Don Ravico had a front row seat, and that is a possibility for the Mercedes driver that he would be looking to take advantage of. But Seaclay being Seaclay, the McLaren driver being the 3-time champion that he is, will not go down without a fight. It's Thursday action night, and Seaclay looking absolutely imperious in the early stages of this race. Let's get a sense of what these teams are thinking as far as tire strategies are concerned. It's a medium tire choice as far as Seaclay, Don Rabico, Simpiwe Zandi, the Nucho, and Debo Crocodile are concerned. Hard tires for Loveness, Thiago, and Seppo Temba, so their first stints will be much longer. Donovan Laka went with a set of soft tires to start this race, and Zotal at the back also on those softs, but it looks like Zotal may have had to have a quick pit stop, but let's hop on board now as it goes. Oh no, they couldn't overtake. It's a virtual safety car just as Simpiwe Zandi was lining up the overtake. Race control has brought out a virtual safety car, so racing is suspended, no overtaking allowed. We're just going to see what that VSC virtual safety car is for. They have to slow. Oh no, Don Rabico! That's a 5-second penalty for ignoring the yellow flag. Oh, rookie mistake from Don Rabico in early stage of this race. It's advantage Seaclay, advantage Simpiwe Zandi. And Don Rabico presumably will have to serve that time penalty when he comes into the pits. Well, at this point in time, folks. Oh, looks like Tapiso almost went into the back of Sage figure of speech there. But he managed to keep it together. Tapiso, we're just going through. Looks like the 86er and Mandla, they may have been the 2 drivers to bring out the virtual safety car. Was that a wing change for Zotal there? 2 laps gone. This is Zotal's second pit stop. Yeah, so Zotal, the veteran, having a nightmare of a day all the way down at the bottom of the of this here grid. Not having the greatest of days with just 3 laps gone. Got work to do as the virtual safety car has ended and racing has resumed. Zotal struggling 2 pits already, says Sir Lancelot in the comment section, as Tepo Temba racks up a 3-second time penalty for track limit incursions at this early stage of the race. Don Ravico now knows he's got that 5-second time penalty to contend with. How much more will he be able to push? Don Ravico on the inside of the McLaren towards turn 1, but Sikle says you shall not pass, evoking the spirit of Gandalf on the bridge of Khazad Doom. Now on board we go with Simpiwe Zondi, aka Simps, who is content to let these front 2 drivers fight it out as he looks for a possible opportunity to overtake both of them, as Moteo Mekwa, aka Mex, in the comment section says Don Rabico killed himself by earning that rookie error penalty, the 86er, latest driver to rack up a 3-second time penalty. And as you can see over there, once again, on the exit of turn number 6, a slight twitch of the rear wheels of that McLaren that Sikle is driving, as Simpiwe Zondi takes a much tighter line through that right-hander that we just saw a couple of seconds ago. So looking very tight, very contentious between the top 3. Let us not ignore the battles, the fierce battles taking place in the midfield. This is Thiago Maestro hunting down Tato, aka Loveness, in the early stages of this race. After the virtual safety car has ended, Thiago Maestro is looking to make light work of Loveness, but Tato, big Tato, will not give that 6th spot up likely at all. There's still so much racing gear to go, folks, as we now watch the AlphaTauri driver almost have a little bit of a swirly moment over there, but he manages to keep it together. And meanwhile, in the front, it is attack mode for Don Rabico on the outside of the McLaren. He takes the lead of this race in the 5th lap. It is Don Rabico, the defending champion, now in defense mode versus the 3-time former champion, that being Sikle, who is now under pressure, under attack, under duress from Simpiwe Zondi, aka Simps, in that McLaren. 5 laps gone. So much battling all over the track. We dare not lift our gaze from any of the action in the front, in the midfield, and indeed the back markers. Back to the tire detail, tire info we see. All the drivers occupying the current top 5 are on a set of medium tires, so it is very tight, very close, as we hop back to the battle between Thiago, Loveness, Thibaut Crocodile, and the Nuccio, who is the Ferrari that you can see, that bright scarlet red Ferrari at the head of this 4-car fight. A 4-way battle, a 4-car DRS train right here in the midfield. Thiago Maestro, very confident, of course, and is looking to make amends, is Thiago, after crashing out in dramatic fashion when he was chasing another Haas, which was Loveness's teammate, Ban Kobe, in Britain last time out. So, what will Thiago have as a possible answer this time round? Tapiso racks up a time penalty, track limit incursions. Thiago thought about it before the final corner, but he's going to bide his time. He knows he will get DRS, a chance to open up that rear wing and get a couple more kilometers per hour down this main straight. He tucks into the slipstream of the Haas ahead of him, but it seems like he's not close enough to go for it. And meanwhile, the Alpine of Thibaut Crocodile is also looking for the overtake on the Nuccio. They're also close. Oh, Thiago on the inside of Tato, but he thought about it. He could not get that move done. Or can he? Oh, they bang wheels. Thiago Maestro, too eager, spinning off the track. Thiago Maestro is in the gravel, facing the wrong way, and he loses all those positions. Was far too eager, was Thiago Maestro, and now he makes acquaintance with the beach sand. Bring out the beach umbrellas, bring out the sunscreen. Thiago Maestro is in the gravel, but sadly now has all his work cut out. With 6 laps gone, was very, very racy, but sadly now tumbling all the way down to P13. Too eager was Thiago Maestro. Sijabalile is his name. Sage figure of speech is currently in that P11 spot. So all these battles are now raging on at this early stage of this race. So much contention, so much in contention, so much contending still yet to go. Don has opened a second, meanwhile, that is correct. Estelo at the front of the pack. Don Rabico leads Sikle by 1.1 seconds. Breaking out of that DRS as, things are getting quite hectic here. Tapiso going off the track, almost overtaken by Sage figure of speech here, as Sage, Tapiso, and Seppo Temba are flirting with track limits in the early stages of this race. He's got a lot of battery power, does Sage figure of speech. He's going to go for it on the inside. Oh no, they bang wheels as they try to go on either side of the Aston Martin, and Tapiso goes completely off the track, and as he does so, he's overtaken by Sage Figure of Speech, who now is up into the points. P10 for Sage Fig. Meanwhile, Tapiso and Grimjaw are going to be looking to hunt down the likes of Tapiso. A lot of work for them to do. Let's hop on board now to the battle, ostensibly for P4. It is Loveness versus Debo Crocodile versus the Nucho. What can they do here now? Smirch Django is on a heck of a recovery drive here, folks, on those medium tires. Now up to P7. We'll catch up with that Ferrari a little bit later. We're on board now with Tato, aka Loveness, hunting down Debo Crocodile, and ostensibly the Nucho in that other Ferrari. Nucho, sadly, unable to take part in the first race of the season, now is here to stake their claim on a decent point finish before all is said and done. 29 laps of total racing here to go. We've seen drivers go off at this particular point on the exit of that left-hander corner, but Loveness managed to keep it together, and now down the main straight they come. They'll each get DRS, open up that rear wing, and a chance to eke inch closer and closer to the next person. But Debo Crocodile is on the outside of the Nucho and has got that move done before turn 1. As the time penalties keep on trickling in here, as the Nucho tries he might, has really run out of battery power and really struggling over here. And now down to P5 and at risk as here comes Tato, who knows that Django is on the verge of possibly overtaking him. So Tato, Loveness, wants to make light work of the Ferrari ahead of himself here. Because he knows that Django will not waste time as, Nucho went wide there. Loveness took a tighter line and manages to keep that gap to less than 0.3 of a second. So Nucho struggling here with his tires just 7 laps old and still about 21 laps of racing still to go. And it goes wide again. Loveness, golden opportunity on the inside, on track, and it's up to P5 for the Haas driver. Tato, Loveness, looking very, very racy and extremely comfortable with 8 laps of a total 29 gone. Looking very good. Loveness now up to P5. Simpiwe Zandi is struggling to keep up with Seatley at this point. He had done very well, did Simpiwe. Just want to make sure we can see some of that detail. He had used up so much of his battery, as you can see. His battery is now down to 10% and needs to recharge to have any chance of catching up with the 3-time former champion, that being Seatley. Oh, meanwhile, Loveness and Debo Crocodile, they've just changed positions. Loveness now up to P4. Tato is on a mission, looking absolutely sensational here today. You would remember Tato Loveness did claim a podium last season in one of the most memorable races. So he is, of course, a very capable driver. Opted to start this race on the longest-lasting hard tires. So will pit much later than, well, presumably, is aiming to pit later than some of the drivers on the medium tires, which do degrade faster. Nucho and Smirch Django have swapped positions. So the champion Smirch Django overtaking the Nucho. And perhaps playing the team game is the Nucho at this particular point. He had been struggling, was the Ferrari driver, so lots of work still to do for the Ferrari driver. If you've just joined us, thank you for choosing BrakeAway Racing League. Remember to like the stream and subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. Top tier BrakeAway Racing League action. We have 10 elapsed, and it's been a very, very entertaining battle at the front as well as in the midfield. Series of battles, I would say. Thiago Maestro was overly eager, we saw earlier on, trying to overtake, I believe it must have been the Loveness, but could not get it done. This will be, a little bit easier. Bang wheels with Teppo Temba and gets that move done courtesy of DRS down the main straight. Thiago now back up into the points with that bright orange helmet. Thiago Maestro has it all to do. Now navigating turns 1 and 2, looking to build a little bit of a gap between himself and Teppo Temba. Ban Kobe down to P14, hunting down Donathan Laka, who is already pitted. Donathan Laka started on a set of soft tires, you would remember, and would have had to come into the pits much earlier than a lot of his competitors, and now has 2-lap-old hard tires and has to contend with the specter of Ban Kobe behind by less than a second. Oh, time penalties now trickling in. It is an unforgiving track, such long sequences of low and of medium and high speed corners, and Sector 1 is particularly treacherous for track limit warnings. That is where drivers are susceptible to potentially falling foul and eventually getting time penalties. So Ban Kobe struggling to keep up with Donathan Laka, who was on a fresher set of hard tires, and that gap now 2.3 seconds. Ban Kobe, work to do. The 86er, Galalatang, veteran Tier 1 driver, not having things his way here. He's down, languishing in P15. There's movement as Django is finally up to the top 4, having just overtaken Tato, aka Loveness. And it looks like Tapiso has just come into the pits. Zotal, meanwhile, is on a recovery race of his own, praying for his safety car. I'm sure Zotal, having already made 2 pit stops, having perhaps made contact with another driver off camera in a moment that we did not get to see. Romeo Masingo, Mandla, down in P17, struggling, languishing down at the back of this 17-driver grid. So work to do for, well, ostensibly today he's Don Rabico's teammate, but he is an Alpha Tauri driver nominally, is Mandla. Would have been paired up with Ngawako, aka D-Wax, were it not for D-Wax's abdication from Tier 1. So Mandla, work to do with 11 laps gone at this particular point in time. Let's catch back up with the midfield battles. Tato, aka Loveness, and get a sense of just how hectic the penalty situation is. Don Rabico knows he's going to have to serve that time penalty when he comes into the pits. The race leader has put on a very, very good show here today. Seachley thus far has had no answer to Don Rabico's pace. It was close in the beginning, but Don Rabico took the lead of the race and has not looked back, but will look to build as large a gap as possible, knowing that he has to serve 5-second time penalty when he eventually comes into the pits. So those are your penalties, folks. Tepo Temba, 9-second time penalties, and 3 seconds each for the likes of Ban Kobe, the 86er, Tepiso, and Mandla at the back. Simpiwe Zandi is the only driver in the top 9 with that 3-second time penalty. Of course, that's Tepo Temba, the exception there, and the 10th spot. 9 seconds worth of time penalties to contend with. It'll cost Tepo Temba dearly. Perhaps will not be in the points, as it looks like there's an almighty tussle between Tepiso and the 86er. And with the former driver overtaking the 86er here. On board we go with the Alpine driver. 12 laps gone of a total 29. If you've just joined us, it's been a very, very interesting, entertaining battle. Oh, yellow flag in Sector 2. Who is that? It looks like a slow-moving Ferrari. The Nuccio. It seems the Nuccio may have just spun, but he's back out on track. Just catch up with him. Does have his wing intact. But it looks like Don Rabico has just come into the pits at this particular point. So we will get a sense of how that goes. Seaclay, Don Rabico, and Simpiwe Zondi having just exited the pits. And Simpiwe Zondi overtaking Seaclay on the exit of the pits. The heck happened there? Well, well, well. Simpiwe Zondi is now the net leader of this race. And Don Rabico, having served that time penalty, is going to have to play catch-up here. But Sir Lancelot did expect Don Rabico to have enough pace in the bag to be able to make up for that deficit. Seaclay on the cold tires versus Thiago's much warmer tires are now fighting it out for that P3 spot ostensibly. Well, well, well. The pit stops have really changed the situation, changed the complexion of this race. Seaclay now down to P4. He was going to be in the lead of this race because of Don Rabico's time penalty. And let's take a look at that gap at this particular point in time. Well, well, Seaclay is less than half a second behind Simpiwe Zondi, the net leader of this race. Loveness and Nuccio have finally come into the pits. changing those hard and medium tires respectively. As Key Music says, you know what, I almost missed the action. Almost. Good to have you in the comment section, Key Music. Here comes the leaders of this race. Seekley attacking Simpiwe Zondi, whose red light is flashing. Oh, will they make contact in the inside of turn 1? Will turn to the inside of turn number 2, the outside of turn 1. Oh, Simpiwe Zondi said, you shall not pass, squeezing the McLaren driver to the very edges of the track. Seekley will not be happy. Oh, Tempo Temba has retired. But that seemingly is in the pits, so nothing to worry about over there. Seekley is looking to get this move done as soon as humanly possible, because Don Rabico has served that time penalty, and Don Rabico, as you can see, is closing that gap. It is now 1.6 seconds, possibly soon to be 1.5. No, it's hovering at the 1.6 second mark, so try as he might, Don Rabico not quite catching up at this particular point in time. Seekley is pushing the Aston Martin ahead. Slight mistake by Simpiwe Zondi. Here comes Seekley on the attack on the outside of this particular turn. Oh, Simpiwe makes that car as wide as possible. And as these two fight, it's a golden opportunity for Don Rabico to eat closer and closer. But Seekley will not let this go without a fight. It's Thursday action night. Now 1.4 seconds is the gap that Don Rabico has to catch up. Oh, there's no room for Seekley to pass. He's going to look on the outside. This is going to be his only opportunity, golden opportunity. That gap is closing. Don Rabico using his battery. It's going to be about 1 second now come the end of the straight. And now Seekley on the outside. It's wheel to wheel, but Simpiwe Zondi has no answer, and Don Rabico pushing to catch up is now the fastest driver on track, setting the quickest time in the 1 minute 24s at this particular point in time. Seekley finally getting that move done. Will not be happy with how long it took. Simpiwe Zondi made that car as wide as possible for as long as he possibly could. Now in P2. Seekley back in the lead of this race. Simpiwe Zondi half a second behind. Don Rabico having used up all of his battery, down to 14% as he was playing catch up there, but now just has to push a little bit further to get within DRS. You need to be within a second, of course, to take advantage of DRS, so we can open up that rear wing down those DRS straights. Don Rabico, as you can see, uses up a little more of that battery. Draining that battery, just does not want to miss out on an opportunity here to get within that DRS of Simpiwe Zondi, who himself is trying to make sure that he does not fall too far behind. Now Seekley, comparatively, is at 35% of his battery. Will he use some battery power just to get out of the clutches of Simpiwe Zondi? Not yet. He's happy to charge, and Seekley, the quickest driver on track. 23.838 is the new benchmark. New fastest lap. Don Rabico has lost a little bit of ground, and is this the crucial moment where essentially the race was lost? That 5-second time penalty and Don Rabico's seeming failure to stay within DRS of Simpiwe Zondi? Well. This may yet be the defining lap. As you can see, that red light flashing on the back of that Mercedes W14, meaning that the battery is down to 10% or less. Thiago Maestro finally came into the pits on the 16th lap to fit a brand spanking set of medium compound tires. Now, in this circuit out here in Qatar, the pit lane time lost, an average pit stop costs you about 18.9 seconds. And as I was just looking at my track notes there, was that another time penalty? Yes, Simpiwe Zondi, that was a second time penalty. Oh man, that is perhaps Simpiwe Zondi's race win prospects well and truly out of the window. He's out of ERS, and he's racked up 6 seconds worth of time penalties, while the likes of Don and Seekley have managed to keep things clean at this particular point in time. So Simps may yet still get a podium if the likes of Django struggle to catch up and keep up at this point in time. Back down to the midfield we go. It is Grimjaw versus the 86er. The Alpine driver weaving to the left and to the right, trying to make that car as large as he possibly can, trying to put a seed of doubt into the mind of Grimjaw and make sure that the Red Bull driver is at a relative disadvantage here. 86er already has a 3-second time penalty, none for Grimjaw. 86er finally concedes and comes into the pits, and Grimjaw is then content to take that P11 spot and hunt down Thiago Maestro, who is now wheel to wheel with Tepiso down the main straight. On the inside goes the Alpha Tauri, and Tepiso has no answer for that speed assisted by DRS, of course, and Thiago is now up to P8. Needs to keep it together to guarantee this points finish after that dramatic DNF last time out. Tepiso is racing for the first time this season. Could not race in Britain, missed out on points, of course, and this is his golden opportunity to make sure he stays within those points positions. Behind him and approaching very, very quickly, as you can see, is Grimjaw, who is about 2.1 seconds behind Tepiso, now 1.9, hovering at that 2-second mark. Work to do for Tepiso as the time penalty shootout keeps inching further and further. Simpiwe Zandi racks up another 3-second time penalty. Mandla has crashed out. Mandla crashes out, bringing out the safety car. It's our first DNF of this race, and sadly for the top drivers, they had already passed the pit lane, so they could not adjust their strategies. Mandla crashes out. Oh no, Debo Crocodile, golden opportunity, but for speed. Oh no, Debo Crocodile, what is going on? He sent it straight into the wall. Perhaps he was trying to come into the pit lane, but it is an absolutely crazy finish to Debo Crocodile's race. Distant cousin of Debo Alligator, possibly Debo Cayman. He is out. Debo Crocodile now has to put the pieces together. And, well, it's going to be all sorts of questions being asked at Team Alpine. Debo Crocodile being out means Alpine's only hope is Galalatang Kakawathi, the 86er. Let's take a look at those tire situations here, folks. Smirch Django, free pit stop, is on a set of soft tires. As Kapoza says, it's advantage Django at this particular point. Django has no time penalties to his name. Safety car. So the drivers, for safety reasons, have to follow behind the safety car. Racing is neutralized. No overtaking is allowed, as Simps has left the session. Well, well, well. Zotal gets a lifeline, says Sir Lancelot. Bongani, Debo Crocodile, barely believing. We do commiserate with you there. Sad to see you go out. And we will see now how things pan out. 3 drivers out. Debo Crocodile, Mandla, Tepo Temba. Looks like Simpiwe Zandi has lost connection to this here lobby, so he will tumble down the order, sadly. So they now have to follow the safety car. Do these drivers? This is a golden opportunity now for Seaclay and Don Rabico to resume their friendly rivalry. Seaclay pits, forcing Don Rabico possibly to come into the pits, and it looks like the ghost of Simpiwe Zandi is also coming in. Advantage Django, said Kaboza. There we go, as Jittery Cursor says, Waylele. Just want to see, catch Jittery Cursor. Who will win the race? It's a new poll that is up now. Let us know who you think will win this race at this particular point of this race. Mantha says, I retired too early. Never give up, says Kaboza. The race is over. Thanks to safety car. Congrats, Seaclay, says Jittery Cursor. Well, Seaclay, Don Rabico will have a newer set of tires. Interestingly, the championship leader has gone for a set of mediums, while Don Rabico has opted for softs. Well, well, well. Brand new mediums for Loveness as well, who has looked very, very good on this circuit. So as things currently stand, under the safety car, with about 10 or so laps of racing to go, hopefully the safety car will come in at the end of this lap, it's Smirts Django, who had a nightmare start, but the way the race has panned out has left him in a very, very good position, leading this race on a brand spanking set of soft tires. Loveness, Tato is in P2. Donathan Laka, one half of the musical duo Lemon and Herb, currently P3. Can he make that car sing? Time will tell, but has a time penalty to contend with, so that will take some doing. Venuccio is currently 4th, as Tepo Temba says ABS off, High Kona. Really is struggling as a Tepo Temba. Seaclay, the would-be champion, the championship leader, brand new mediums. Perhaps towards the end of this race, it'll be advantage Seaclay. What do you reckon? Don Rabico behind them on those brand new softs. So at the restart, Don Rabico will have something to say. Pace-wise, the safety car is in at the end of this lap. The ghost of Simpiwe Zondi has to contend with Thiago Maestro, who has done well to avoid time penalties at this particular point. Tepiso has to fight for the pride of Williams. Donathan Laka is all the way up in P3. Tepiso doing very, very well on their first race of this year. Grimjaw is in the points. The 86er, golden opportunity to have his say on those points positions. Ban Kobe has selected a brand spanking set of medium tires. Zotal has a lifeline, as you've mentioned. Sandalin Mazansi in the comments says medium tires will have an advantage. Looking forward to what Django will do with the softs, as are we all. Django gets to dictate the pace, and he will dictate when he will push and send these cars screaming down towards the line. Smirch Django not pushing, not yet. They expected him to go, but he has opted to bide his time and really not push as yet. When will Django send it? It is oh so close at this particular point. We're watching for the vantage point of the Nucho to see when will Django send it. The answer is now. There goes Django towards the line, being hunted down by the likes of Loveness and Donathan Laka. It's the battle for the race win here in Qatar. Django navigates turn one cleanly, as does Loveness. Donathan Laka cleanly through. Sinclair already attacking the Nucho, but can he get it done? Tries he might, he's close, but no cigar. Oh yes, he's done it. Sinclair's done it. He's overtaken the Nucho, and the initial sequence of corners, and now it's over to you, Don Rabico. But Don Rabico, it looks to the left and to the right, but he can't overtake. Oh, Seatley gets a 3-second time penalty. It's going to be pressure to Seatley towards the end. He tried, and Don Rabico also attacking Nucho. Wheel to wheel they go. They bang wheels, but Nucho says, you shall not pass. In lap number 20 of 29, Don Rabico sees the door slammed shut in his face. But here we go now, on board with the defending champion, who is fighting for his life, breathing through the wound of a 3-second time penalty with 9 laps of racing still to go. It is also tight here at the race restart, as mediums are the tires, says Mfundo. Nucho, defending the champion, racks up a time penalty of his own. But Don Rabico, in the sequence of fast corners, will he risk it for the biscuit and go for it on the inside of Ferrari? But no, he plays it safe, he plays it circumspect, and bides his time, knowing that he may yet have a golden opportunity later on. Smirch Django leads by a second and a half with 20 laps elapsed, and Smirch Django has the advantage of no time penalties, as Don Rabico on the main straight finally goes on the attack. But Nucho is saying you shall not pass. Don Rabico has to drain all of his battery as Seatley attacks and overtakes Donathan Laka for that P3 spot. Overtakes galore, battles galore, and drama galore in the tail end, or in the final part, I beg your pardon, of this race here in Qatar. Now, it is Don Rabico on the hunt versus Donathan Laka, trying to make sure that Seatley does not slip too far away in the battle for the potential race win. Oh, he weaves. Oh, he dives on the inside. Sensational stuff by Don Rabico. As Donathan Laka was defending that particular line, he absolutely changed the angle of his steering wheel, completely switched lines and dove on the inside of that Williams. Meanwhile, it's Grimjaw versus Tepiso. Tepiso, on his first race of the season, putting on an almighty fight here, defending and fighting for his life versus the likes of Grimjaw. Tepiso at this particular point is a part of the furniture as far as top-tier BrakeAway League racing is concerned. Will not make life easy for these newcomers.
Velo Tepiso hapo mafika zol. Angaba bakaye next. Tepiso so yilo.
Yes, he will fight it. He will not give them an absolute inch. Tepiso at this particular point defending for his life. The gap between himself and Grimjaw is about 0.3 of a second. Another yellow flag. Another yellow flag at the back. There's a slow-moving car. Seatley! Oh, Tepiso, Grimjaw. Oh, well, I'm really struggling to keep up with everything going on. Tolu Nwimi says what a move that was by Don Rabico that we saw earlier on. Grimjaw is now on the hunt versus Thiago Maestro, and it is not going to be the easiest of navigations. Tepiso was finally overtaken there by Grimjaw, and it's very good stuff by the Red Bull driver in the top tier of a BrakeAway Racing League here today. What a sensational race we have had here from start to finish, but a lot of racing still to go. Oh, Nucho versus Donathan Laka is another one. Soft tires versus medium tires at this particular point. Perhaps the medium tire runners will feel that they are at a marginal advantage as the soft tires degrade quicker. And as we tick on towards the final stages of this race, the medium tires will feel much, much more comfortable. Don Ravico is now looking to dispatch Loveness ahead. Don Ravico having used up all of that battery. Thiago Maestro finally racks up a 3-second time penalty, down to about 35% of battery power. Don Ravico is just going to use his ERS, and that battery power and DRS, I beg your pardon, is too much for Smirch, or rather for Loveness to handle. So many overtakes all over the track. Oh, this is the Nucho looking on the inside of Donathan Laka. He's on the inside now, but Don will have the inside into the next corner. And he keeps that P5 spot. Does Donathan Laka? Grimjaw and Thiago Maestro are putting on a huge tussle of their own. It's a 4-car DRS train. A huge fight between these 4 drivers, ostensibly for that P5 spot. And then there's daylight between Donathan Laka and Loveness. But as you can see, Nucho not making life easy for Thiago, who is himself trying to keep Grimjaw at bay. Oh, so close between this quartet in the 23rd of a 29 total laps. And we will get a decent taste of who is most comfortable through these medium and high-speed corners. Oh, it looks like Grimjaw is just happy to bide his time and hopefully pressure the likes of Thiago and Nucho into mistakes of their own. Oh, but Thiago is absolutely aggressive, giving nothing away. Meanwhile, at the front, Sikle has caught up to Django. Despite that time penalty, oh, the Nucho struggling on the exit of that particular corner. Thiago Maestro much more comfortable as Zotal further down in P12 racks up a time penalty. Here comes Thiago Maestro on the inside of the Nucho, who will use as much of his battery as possible to make this a non-starter of a battle towards the line. Thiago Maestro tries as he might. He cannot overtake the Nucho down towards the line. Here comes Grimjaw. They're going to go wheel to wheel. Will they make contact? It's also close in towards turn 1, but Nucho tries to give Thiago a little bit of room. Nucho has the inside line in turn 2, but Thiago Maestro gets the move done, and Grimjaw takes advantage and overtakes the Ferrari as well, and the Nucho in the space of 2 corners drops 2 positions, and it is absolutely sensational stuff in the midfield here as we hurtle towards the end. It is the Nucho now less than 0.4 of a second behind this 4-car DRS train, and watch out, Donathan Laka, you thought you were had some breathing space. Well, here comes Thiago Maestro, and it is not going to be easy at all. Meanwhile, let's not neglect the battle for the race win, the race lead. It is Django, Sikle, Rabico fighting it out at the front. So many battles to keep an eye on. And here comes the 3-time champion versus the man who deposed them as the king of the top tier of BrakeAway Racing League. They were teammates, they were bitter enemies, and now they're fierce rivals on track. Tapiso is struggling with time penalties down in the midfield as Don Rabico perhaps is happy just to try charge his battery. This is Sikle. This is the main straight. This is how you overtake, courtesy of DRS. Smirch Django was going to fight it down towards turn number 1, but he may not have enough, and Sikle gets that move done cleanly. And Smirch Django is still at a relative advantage here, folks, knowing that he has just to stay within 3 seconds of any of these two. Oh no, and he will be fine. Zotal has retired from this race in the pit lane. Zotal waves the white flag after a nightmare start, and the veteran driver in the colors of Red Bull will take no further part in this race, becoming the 4th retiree, joining Debo Crocodile, Mandla, and Tsepo Temba to not finish this race. Now, 14 contenders remaining. Perhaps Simpiwe Zandi can rejoin this lobby. He had dropped out, as Mfundo commiserates with Zotal, courtesy of a emoji there in the comment section. Let's hop on board now with the current champion, Don Rabico, looking to snatch an unlikely victory at this point, considering Smirch Django does not have any time penalties. As you can see on the bottom of Don Rabico's steering wheel, that battery, which is that yellow bar at the bottom, is down really toward its final little smithereens, if you will, final little bits, as Don Rabico is content to overtake Smirch Django for that P2 spot. And we'll make it a straight scrap, a straight fight, a straight battle for Sikle for the race win. XD says Sikle better win in the comment section. I used my full vote on his name there in that bet. As it stands, 50% of you said Sikle were going to win. 36% said it's Don Rabico. 5% said Simps, and 9% of you said it was going to be the Nucho taking this race win. As it stands, even though Cicle and Don Ravico are nominally ahead, it is still advantage Smirch Django, who just needs to stay within 3 seconds of the drivers ahead of him, because that is, of course... oh no, Don Ravico has a 5-second time penalty. I beg your pardon, I missed that 5-second time penalty that Don Ravico notched up. So Don Ravico's time penalty may yet even bring Loveness into podium contention here. Or can it? If Loveness can really do something special here and press to trim that gap as much as he possibly can. We've got 3 laps of racing still to go. As you can see, so many time penalties. Tapiso, 6 seconds. Ban Kobe, also 6 seconds, as does the 86er. Simpiwe Zandi is at the back. We also need to catch up with Ban Kobe and Sage Figure of Speech. It's the battle for the final points positions over here. So it'll not be easy at all. Those softs on Don Ravico are finished after sparring with so many of these drivers. So says Jittery Cursor in the comment section. Absolutely, we saw Don Ravico really struggle. It's been a case of playing catch-up for Don Ravico since that mistake in Q3. Everything that has happened has been a consequence of the pressure of really catching up. But Cicle, since coming back to BrakeAway Racing League, has not lost an ounce of his Midas touch. Still the man to beat, still the gold standard. And as things stand, with 2 laps of racing to go, still P1. Oh, Grimjaw joins the ranks of the penalized. 3-second time penalty for the Red Bull driver, currently down in P5. And Loveness will have his work cut out for him if he had the unlikely chance of a possible podium finish over here. But Tato being Tato, he's still going to give it a go. He's not going to go down without a fight here, folks. Meanwhile, Grimjaw, P5. Thiago Maestro done very well. Of course, after that nightmare of race 1, he's in P6 here. Does have time penalties. Donathan Laka, currently 7th. The Nucho is 8th. Racing also in their first race of the season. Currently in that 8th spot. Tapiso is 9th. Sage Figure of Speech is 10th. Ban Kobe is 11th, and well, slipping further and further out of the clutches of Sage Figure of Speech. The 86er, P12, and the Ghost of Simpiwe Zandi is in P13. Back we go to the battle for the race win. Loveness joins the ranks of the penalized, meaning Smirch Django is the best performing driver today as far as keeping that car within track limits. Who knows, Django may be teetering on the brink of a 3-second time penalty himself. It's going to be a battle of wits for Django here. He dares not get penalized here while trying to stay in touch with the drivers ahead of him. Look at that steering wheel, folks. Look at that bar at the bottom of Django's steering wheel. That is his battery power remaining. He has absolutely used up all of his battery power. And he better hope for his sake that he does not lose or does not rack up a 3-second time penalty, because that would be a memorable race win snatched from him at the death. The fastest driver on track is still Cicle as far as the fastest lap, and that extra championship point, 23.102, is the benchmark that Cicle had set. A couple of tenths quicker than the likes of Don Ravico, and just a tenth quicker than Smirch Django, who did have the fastest time. Meanwhile, it is Cicle who's going to look to get this move done on track and cross the line first in the final lap of this race. It has been sensational battling by Cicle and Don Ravico, who have given us some beautiful entertainment. Oh no! Cicle's disconnected! Cicle's disconnected! He's out of the lobby! Oh my gosh! It is absolutely heartbreaking stuff. The champion is out. Oh, the 3-time champion is out. That means Django is going to go potentially unchallenged unless Don Ravico pulls a hell of a rabbit out the hat here. No, that 5-second time penalty is going to cost him. Oh, no, Cicle is going to be overtaken by Loveness. Oh, this is heartbreaking stuff. Seatley at the death, disconnecting, and it might yet lose the podium courtesy of that disconnection. But Don Rabico will cross the line first, but despite that, the time penalty will cost him. Jonathan Laka earns another time penalty. He crosses the line first, but Smirch Jango wins in Qatar to claim his first win of the season. Don Rabico and Loveness, Tato Loveness is on the podium. P3 in a sensational race for the Haas driver. And as you've corrected me rightly, Seatley ran out of fuel. He ran out of fuel. He underfueled in this race, and it cost him at the death. Drama. Tiago Maestro, the rookie to the top tier, is P4 at the end of this race. Grimjaw crosses the line in P5. We have the Nucho in 6th, Jonathan Laka 7th, and Seatley tumbles all the way down to 8th. Sabiso 9th, Sitch Figure of Speed, and the 86er Bank Kobe and Simpiwe Zandi. This will hurt Seatley's chase for the championship, so says Estelo in the comment section. It is drama, absolute drama in the final stages of this race here in Qatar. Look at that. We are joined by none other than the winner and the champion. Of course, he has a championship in the top tier. Smirts Django, congratulations. How does that feel? Take us through quali, take us through your race. You kept it clean, and that was crucial. I think you had a nightmare start. Just take us through that. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ty. Oh, man, it's good to be back, man. Oh, my goodness. It's good to be back. I'm sweating like crazy. But yeah, I knew it was going to be a crazy battle because everybody was, it's kind of fast here, and I couldn't compete with the other two guys, Sitley and Don. They were quite fast. I knew that strategy was going to work for me. So either way, I was going to either pit before them so that I can undercut, or something might have to give. Going into quali, everybody's sandbagging. And then into the last runs, I get into, I think, the 21.0s. And then I'm going to do my last run, and then I invalidate. So I was like, oh my goodness, nightmare start. Damage limitation. On the first lap, again, I get taken out. I think I got taken out, let me rather say that, by, I think it was Grimjaw or something. And from there, I was like, you know what, I'll do the best that I can and overtake these other guys and hopefully, get to maybe P4 minimum. And then safety car came in, and the rest is history.
Wow. Just take us through when it came out, when it did. I think the top 2 of the top 3 had already passed like the pit lane. You must have thought it was perfect timing.
It was, but I didn't know which tire to take, to be quite honest with you. I didn't know if the softs were going to stay for that long, or the mediums and I'm going to be slower than the other guys, So it took a gamble. I spoke to someone else I don't want to mention, and then he said I should take softs, and it paid off.
It paid off. It really did. Man, what a race. And keeping it clean, paying off dividends towards the end. We want to come over now to Don Rabico. They are making you sweat this year. You have been a sensation since coming into BrakeAway. What a race that was. We saw some penalties early on and another penalty that cost you towards the end. Take us through quali and take us through that race. Dramatic stuff.
Yeah, let me correct you there, Tyson. The winner of this race is myself. Thank you very much. I got penalties for Sim's stupid car keeps ghosting and coming in front of me under the safety car. So he kept on giving me 5-second penalties, which I'm sure it will be removed as it was not my fault. Being overtaken by a ghost car,
Okay.
The race was good, but it's just quali. I messed up my in Q3. I messed up my first run.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes when you are too cocky, this is what happens. Too confident, too confident. So I made a mistake, and then I couldn't go on my second run. I had to do the same run again with the same tires, which I actually should have pitted, but I didn't wanna risk it,
Yeah.
So the race was tough, was not easy, but these damn safety cars and this damn Sims under the safety car, he passes me and he gives me 5-second penalty. So now when I pit, to change my tires, I lose position because I have that. They make me serve that 5 second.
Yeah.
And then again he comes after me again under the safety car for the second time. He hits me with another 5 seconds. This guy, no mercy. These guys. This AI is also. First it was him, and then after that it was his AI.
Oh man!
I was like, I can't believe this guy should not race anymore. What is he just coming here to mess my race up?
Listen, it was so entertaining and so close watching you, especially after I think it was the safety car, watching all of you guys trying to get past some of the guys that had older tires. I'm not sure if it was before or after the safety car. There was a move that you did on, was it the Nucho? Well, who was really holding you up, and then you had to sell a dummy on him. Just take us through that move. It was a crazy move on the Ferrari of I think it was the Nucho.
I knew the moment we pitted and we came out behind these guys, they're gonna fight for their lives. They're gonna fight a lost battle just to slow us down, to slow me down. I knew that I had to take drastic moves, otherwise they're gonna hold me, because this is what they do. They'd rather ruin my race and ruin their race.
No, they're giving you a hard time because they have to give you a hard time. They can't make it easy for you.
No, but you don't have to make it easy. But as a racer, you know that if you're fighting someone, you're putting yourself under risk of the guy behind you of catching you and losing out to the guy in front of you. So with a battle that you're gonna lose. So what is the point of that battle? You need to have some racecraft and race awareness and know how to manage yourself.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see how the drivers take that. Some entertaining stuff, Don Rabico, but we have to give a word of appreciation, a word of applause, and really kudos to Tato, a.k.a. Loveness, is back on the podium. Tato, you were looking very, very good the entire day, or the entire evening today. Just take us through that, man. You were looking very, very strong. You seemed comfortable up there. I don't know if this is one of your preferred tracks, but really, really good going.
It's not being comfortable, it's just putting in time, and I'm actually surprised, and I'm actually proud of myself because I just jumped on the wheel. I think it's 4 weeks now. So to get a podium and just been practicing and putting in the time, and I'm kind of proud of myself, And just putting in time, and man, these guys are fast. And I know my pace myself, but to be on podium against these guys, I'm just out of words right now, Tyson. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can.
Yes, we can hear you. Yeah. Sorry, I had my mic on mute. I just wanted to hear also your thoughts on the safety car, the timing of the safety car, and how you played it, and those battles. Because I think your time penalty came on very, very late, like in the race. You were looking good for like a long time.
I wasn't really banking on a safety car. In actual fact, I didn't want it at all because I was trying to see if I could keep up, and I was catching on Django, but I knew my tires were gonna go off. But my pace was looking good, and I had hoped that he would drag me away from the other guys. Then he came at a bad time, and actually not a bad time because I happened to be on P2 when you got out of the pit and under the safety car. So it wasn't so much of a bad safety car, but I tried to make it work, and P4 is what I could get, but thankfully the seeker ran out of fuel. So here I am on podium, man.
Great one, Loveness, man. Great one.
Yeah, great
Thanks,
one.
man.
Sorry, my mic was muted again. It's great to see you back in the podium, and really looking forward to how much more we could have you, because the pace is there, and interesting now that you've also joined the ranks of the racing wheels. So Tato, aka Loveness, really, really good stuff. Sensational racing. Gentlemen, Don Ravico, Tato, Django, what a race you all put on. Cannot wait to see what you have in store for us next week, Thursday. The guys in the comment section have been saying how difficult it is just to earn points this season. So, yeah, no one is making it easy, but Clay is, of course, still a bit confused in the comment section. He said he didn't underfuel, so it's just something that went wrong on a technical level there, and he didn't lose connection to the lobby either. So yeah, he's trying to figure out what went on there. And of course, Don Ravico did mention he's going to look to have that 5-second time penalty removed, which may yet change the final classification of this race. But Django, what a sensational race, driving clean. Don Ravico once again entertaining and fighting with the likes of Django and Clay, and Tato was there, of course, to make his presence felt for that third and final podium spot. Gentlemen, we will see you next week, Thursday. Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to catch up with the final comments before we wrap it up. Thank you, everybody. Clay, we commiserate
Thanks,
with
Hassan.
you.
Cheers, guys.
All right, cheers, man. And
Cheers, guys.
thank you, Titus, in the comments section as well. Thank you, Uncle Savvy. Definitely Duke, Jittery Cursor, Tapiso, Mfundo, Estelo. The 86er joined the comment section a little bit later on, and it was good to have all of you here. XD, I think that is Sanlay Mazanti, is in the comments. Mfundo, who races in Tier 2, as well as Sir Lancelot is here. Kim Music, Estelo, Mateo Mekwa, and Quali was in the comments section. Tiago as well. What a result for Tiago after last week's nightmare. And Kid K, it's always good to see you in the comment section. And Clay, we look forward to seeing all of those details and what you will do for the rest of this season. We will see you next week. Remember, Tier 3 races on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Central African Time. That's Tier 3, Tuesdays. Tier 2 on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central African Time. And the top tier every Thursday, 7:30 Central African Time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. This has been Tier 1 of BrakeAway Racing League. Thank you and good night.